reading will be done by Ms. Denta Amuteng, MBE, founder of Uber Awards. Our panelists include Bowo Odunsi, aka Odunsi the Engine, a Nigerian musician challenging the music industry. Mr. YC, a renowned Nigerian rapper and musician, and Ms. Christelle Kaibi, who works with various musicians worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause.
Right, the last session of the evening. Are you guys excited about this one? Yeah? Okay, so before we properly start, I think we all want to be on YC's timeline. So, if you don't mind, please put on your Instagram and do what's it called? Oh, thank you. You know that one. Let's do it. So that we can all feature Warwick. We're here.
Hashtag WAS 2019. Forward.
We're all live on Instagram, so just say hi.
Okay, so now we can start. So we're going to talk about the music industry, which you're all very familiar with. The first question is, in your opinion, what do you think is the best way for young creatives to establish themselves on the global stage? Start with you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Alright. Sorry, question again.
So, how do young people, creatives, how are young people able to put themselves on the global stage? Creative people that are...
I think one of the first things to do is a lot of research with whatever you're trying to do or whatever you're interested in. So it's basically like anything else, like education is important. Like just watching people that have done what you're trying to do, looking at step they take. It doesn't have to be formal. It could just be a lot of visiting of documentation, documentaries, biographies. And you notice after a while when you do that, you notice patterns in lives of people who have generally been able to play on a global scale. And a lot of it has to just do with consistency and networking.
So networking is really important.
Yeah, but right now it's probably like the highest level.
I see. What would you say to that?
Just to add to what he said, I believe it's a step-by-step process. Because I don't think when I started, I obviously wanted to be like the best musician, period. But there are certain realities that you have to come to terms with when you start, take that part as a professional musician. So I mean, first of all, I had to conquer my locality. I started off from my little town, town, up until like the level, say, mainland and Ireland and Lagos and Nigeria. Then start spreading to other places in Africa. So I think, like he said, it's down to looking at the people that come before you and seeing what they've done and deciding, okay, this is what this person did, but not to copy anybody's journey because we're all, individuals in our own right. So you need to start small, step by step, and I mean, it's down to your individuality because if you're not different from this guy, then why am I going to listen to you? So, just keep creating, keep pushing, and before you know it, you find yourself on the global level.
Chris, do you have anything to add to that? So, in your opinion, what would be the best way for young creatives to establish themselves on the global stage?
Yeah, I agree with Odunsi's point on networking. The one thing we need to remember is in every generation, in any kind of peer group, that is a network. So, you look at people like Jay-Z and Diddy, and that's their peer group, that's their network, they've networked with people in that area. So in that group, so you never know who someone could be in 10 years' time. So you're networking with just someone who maybe is just an A&R scout in a small label in London, could mean that in 10 years' time, when he's a big power player in that label, he's able to say, actually, no, I know this dope artist that I've had this long relationship with, and you know, it's time to put him on. But I would also say if you're kind of, it depends on what perspective. If you're going kind of Western world into Africa, or Africa into the Western world, I think in terms of being a global artist from Africa out, I think then your network has to be very global. I think if we are quite honest with the Afrobeat industry, the Afrobeat industry is just music coming from Ghana and Nigeria. Let's be real. And so to some extent, as YC said, if you conquer that locality, you're just a star in West Africa. You know, you're a superstar in West Africa. But then how do you now take being a superstar in West Africa and make that global? It has to be that other people are globally putting you on. So it has to be that, you know, someone in London, maybe you have management in London who can be hitting the streets for you in London, or someone in SA that's like a radio DJ, a radio host that loves your music and can put you on the radio, or someone in Australia who's like part of the diaspora and can be like, oh, I know this dope artist, you know, we've got ACS, let's fly him out. So yeah, networking is key, but you need to make sure that you're networking globally, as opposed to what a lot of our artists would tend to do at the beginning, where you're just networking in Nigeria and Ghana because you just want to blow there and you think that that's going to make you an international star.
Thank you for that. I think, like you said, I mean, we saw, is it last month? Davido selling out of O2, which was huge. Again, like Afrobeats is going crazy at the moment. But do you think, what do you think are some of the challenges facing creatives within Africa though? What are some of the challenges that our artists are facing at the moment?
I think the biggest challenge is the mindset that a creative dream is not valid. I think we come from, especially Africans, we come from the background where your parents say, rapping, what's that? Singing, what's that? Producing beats, ba ba ba, what's that? So I think that's the biggest challenge, that a creative's dream is not valid to an African. Singing is not, it's not a job, it's a hobby. You know, be an accountant 9 to 5, and when you come back, you know, 5 to 9, you can rap and sing. So I think that's our biggest issue, that a lot of people spend a lot of time going to do degrees, you know, indirect and YC there, going to do degrees and going to do things when they could have been perfecting their craft. They could have been saying that, you know, yeah, I'm going to hold a 9 to 5 to make money, but I'm going to perfect my craft, instead of trying to live out this dream for somebody else. So I think mentally that's a big challenge. In Africa specifically, the challenge is there's not much structure yet. So artists don't know about publishing. Artists don't know about public performance income. Artists don't know about, is this the right manager to have? Is this the right label to sign to? Is this the right place for me to be at? Is this the right thing for me to be doing? All the structures that we've had, because our labels have been established for hundreds of years. I mean, Sony Music, for example, Columbia has been in existence for 50, 60 years. PPL, PRS, people that pay artists money when their songs, I mean, you guys play something on YouTube, right? You have a license. YC gets paid for that, or Dempsey gets paid for that here. In Africa, no one knows about that. And it got to a point where it was so bad that I remember going into PPL's offices once, and I was looking at the list of songs for one of my artists, and I noticed that actually somebody, a random person, had registered my artist's music. So that person was actually getting the publishing from my artist, but that, we've never heard of this person, we've never entered into any agreement with that person. That's because this person in London knew that there's this pot of money that exists that this artist has not come to collect yet. So if I can fill out a few forms and send over a few pieces of identification, I can get that money. So I think that's the biggest issue with Africa, the lack of structure.
Yeah, definitely. YC, did you really study marine biology?
Yeah, for a short period of time.
For a short period. Why? What made you do that?
I think, first of all, I professionally started making music in 2012. I say professionally because that's when I got my first record deal. And you know, at that time I was fresh out of secondary school, high school.
So I wasn't able to get into uni immediately. So I just wanted to keep busy. So for me, music was more of a hobby, something I knew how to do, and I was passing the time up until I got admission into university. So the record deal sort of came before university admission. So at the time I got admitted into the University of Lagos, I was already signed to a label, I was already putting out music, shooting music videos and all that. And at some point in my career, I decided, it wasn't really working out how I thought it'd be. I thought, you just get in the studio, I know how to sing, I know how to rap, you just shoot the video, and the next thing you know, you're a superstar. But I think it was sort of a rude awakening when after the first few videos, you're not playing at any shows, nobody's booking you, nobody's checking for you. So I almost gave up on the dream. I was like, I think I should just go back to school. I have this qualification to study sciences in the university, so I'm going to go back to the university and study marine biology. And I think at some point along the line, it became a clash because I was too invested in music to, get back in the system. No shame to anyone here that's studying, to be a lawyer, doctor, anything. But I mean, for me, it was just like I felt I'd gotten the education I needed to, move forward. So I was in class, but I wasn't paying any attention because I still wanted to make music. I still wanted to, play at the shows. I still wanted to perform and all that. So in 2015, my career started, yielding some sort of profit. People started recognizing me in school. People started booking me for shows. I was spending less time in school and more time on the road. So after a couple of times, I tried to defer my admission for as long as I could, but it got to a point where I was just doing myself a disservice trying to balance the two. So I just decided, let's just focus on music. And I mean, it's been good so far, but education is something I take very, very important because it provides me with necessary tools. It puts me at an advantage over some of my peers who haven't been able to, take their education seriously. But I mean, marine biology, a lot of people see me and they say, oh, you make music, and how come it's who don't call you? But
your interest. So, can you identify key challenges that you went through as a creative?
Key challenges. Well, at the time, yeah, they definitely look at challenges. But right now, looking back, I feel like these were things I had to go through. I had to take those few years and not be successful off the jump because I don't think I would have appreciated musical success when it came. So from the beginning, things as simple as getting into the studio, to record was very, very challenging because I was young, and when you start wanting to do music at a young age, not that many people take you seriously. They just see, oh, maybe this kid has money, let's just take his money for the session, and not that many people were taking me seriously. And another challenge I was facing was because of the style of music I chose to do. I started out making rap music. Like when I say rap music, you would listen to me and not know I was Nigerian. So, people would listen to me, and that is in itself was another challenge because, I mean, it's one thing to be good at it, but it's another thing to understand that as a musician coming from Nigeria, coming from Africa, you are an ambassador to the continent. So I have to double down. I have to understand, okay, forget what it is you're good at. You have to learn a way to make this music relatable to, your people. So those little challenges, and understanding that the talent is a lesser percentage of what it takes to be a successful artist. Because a lot of people just feel like, I know how to sing, I know how to rap, so I should be the best, I should be successful at this, but there's so many things that come into play. You have to be sound on a business level. Like you have to know things that need to be done, and understanding that you are not just a musician, you are a brand, and you have to sell that brand. You have to show people why you should listen to me and not listen to the other guy. So these things are things that in the beginning I didn't know, but along the years, more time working on it, I got better at it.
Okay. What attempts are you making to stand out in this new digital era?
Well, I mean, for me, you know, the most important thing standing out from any other artist is the fact that I have the ability to rap and sing, and I try as much as possible to create a new blend out of that. But I mean, in the digital age where, like I said, your music is part of what makes, you know, different from the next man. You have to dabble in any and everything you can. You know, so I mean, luckily for me, I have a very, very sound management team that, you know, listens to the ideas that I bring to the table. And as a musician, I don't just choose to limit myself to making just music, because I think one thing I needed to understand is there's a certain way people look at you as a musician in Nigeria. They tend to want to feel you're only good for music, you know. So if you're not putting out music, nobody's checking for you. Nobody wants to see what else you're doing. Well, I think I'm trying to venture out into not just, you know, music, but other areas of entertainment, cinematography, photography, and even fashion as well, because I sometimes like to think I'm a very passionate person.
I think you are.
So I mean, it's just for me, the added advantage that I'm bringing to the table is, you know, I'm always ready to double up on my work. You know, I never ever feel comfortable, no matter whatever level of success. One thing I always love to live by is there's always a high level at the top. So no matter any ground I break, I believe there's still more ground to be broken. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything to say about the digital era that we're in at the moment and how we can?
The question is, what do I think?
Yeah. So how are we using the digital platforms to kind of break grounds?
I feel like it's globalizing the world more and more, and I feel like unlike before, where there were like so many middlemen and gatekeepers in the creative industry, which is an industry that has been very violated for years, and a lot of young people have been taken advantage of because of like lack of information. With digital media, internet, social media, it's like a connecting bridge between the artists and information, artists, fans, and just creative people generally. Like I'm a good example because I started my career off Twitter, just like tweeting stuff. I dropped my first song in 2016. February, January. Like you could literally still see the tweet. But I can pull it up and show you, like, this was the day I dropped my song. And from there, you can see my journey through my Twitter. Everything I've done, from my first show, my show here, to my first video, to everything is like documented right there. So it's like, that's a perfect example to show how much digital, how powerful it is. So like people around the world are like checking on you, seeing what you're doing. I mean, you're globalizing it. So it's a thing where I'm dropping a song, and then years ago, if let's say 50 Cent drops an album in 2004 or 5, and we only get it here maybe 2 weeks, we only get digital copies here like 2, 3, almost a month later.
Yeah.
Now I'll probably hear a song that maybe like a rapper in the US has dropped. I'll probably hear it before someone else, because I maybe awake before they see it. So it's like the law has changed. Some people here know. Like I just finished a UK tour this
You've
week.
got a new single out, right?
Yeah. I just finished a UK tour this week, and the shows I did here, more people are singing my lyrics back up than in Nigeria. So,
Oh, wow.
and it makes sense though, because like again with the digital media, music has moved from like physical distribution to digital distribution. So we have streaming services who are like the new distributors, like movers, so it's like you have Spotify, you have Apple Music, you have local like Play, etc. So people are listening and purchasing the music online. So if you look at the rate of the people that have the access to information, maybe people outside Nigeria or Nigerians outside Nigeria, Nigerian students outside Nigeria and the US and the UK, they're the ones like checking for it and everything, and the majority. So even with numbers, Nigeria is like my third streaming country, and then US and the UK come before. So it just shows you how far you can reach and how like it's becoming like more of a global system than even like, oh, it's a country thing or is it this thing. It's just now that global citizen, what do you have to offer the world? And like you look at it, like you look around, like who else is doing this? How they doing it, where I'm doing it, how do they do it? And it's just like, that's what has helped a lot of artists now. So like before you need to start, it's almost like you're asking for permission. Like, can I do this? Can I do that? Now you just do it and like people find you and then you just.
Well, I'm glad that I found you guys because we've got a manager there, we've got 2 artists here and a producer, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I rap, you know, so you never know. I might just make it. So, are you okay, YC, if I drop some lyrics?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay. Are you guys ready for it? Yeah. Okay. There you go. Everyone is getting their Instagram. Okay. Your car's here. Tell the cat to wait, eh? Let me finish my rap. Are you guys ready for the Insta? Yeah. They call me Wild Blow. Okay. They call me Wild Blow. Lick shots, bo bo bo. The lady your soul. I'll be the opposite of a hoe, not just for the dough. Elevate your soul another level when I flow. All your chicken heads can't follow, cause my style is so sexy, style is so nasty. Check 1 to 2, the minutes is what they rate me.
Wait. Dent, I work for Sony. Come to the office on Monday. We'll discuss this record contract.
Thank you. Guys, I need a clap now. I know you really have to go, so you can give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much to Odunsi Engine for coming out all the way here for us. Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for Odunsi. And a quick picture before he leaves.
Okay, so I think now we're going to open up to questions from the audience, from you guys, as time is going. So, any questions? Hands up. There's a guy at the top there. Kobe, is that you?
Thank you for your time. So my question is regarding challenges. So firstly, what naivety do talented people show that prevents them from actually getting to the next level? So like they're good at their craft, but they're not making it. What naivety do they show? And also what challenges does the industry place on artists that they need to be ready for to overcome?
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. As far as naivety on the part of artists, you know, there's something that I've noticed from some of my colleagues in the industry, where you can see an artist in a situation where he could be too good for his own good. You know, because you feel like, oh, because you're so good at rapping or you're so good at singing, but you know, your music is not getting the acceptance you think it should, or you're not getting the numbers online, your views are not climbing and everything. And then you, in turn, just start getting mad at the people that are actually putting in that extra work, you know, working on their branding, working on their fans and what it is they have to offer. So I think that's the number one thing, because I myself, I wouldn't say I'm the most talented or I'm the best rapper or the best singer, but it all comes down to how much you really want it. It all comes down to what you're willing to compromise. Like in my case, I have to compromise rapping to understand, you know, the picture is bigger than what I'm chasing personally. So that's one thing that holds a lot of musicians back, because then you see conversations where they say, oh, this artist is underrated, or you know, this artist is not getting as much buzz as, you know, Mr. B and all that. And I think with the industry is people hate what they don't understand, or they're afraid to, you know, embrace change. I'll take Odunsi for example. You know, Odunsi is one of the newer artists in the new generation that's challenging the way the rest of the world sees African music. You know, not to take anything away from the Wizkids and the Davidos. Most people just feel, once they hear you're a Nigerian artist, they just say, oh, you make Afrobeat, you know, or you know, they tend to want to put you in the box. So when people like Odunsi or people like myself come out with something that's a bit different from what they're used to, there's this mentality that I call, how dare you? You know, they see you do something different, they're like, what makes you feel, you know, for you to get that global recognition, you're not making Afrobeat. What do you think about that whiskey? Do you think, how dare you try to, you know, challenge what we see? So I say on the part of the artist is, you know, being too good for your own good, and on the industry, it's just people afraid to put in that extra work to just open another door, explore something different.
Thank you. So I have a question. So it's a very quick question, and I appreciate quite a brief response as well. So Christophe, this is actually aimed at you. So we've seen the emergence of YouTube, we've seen the emergence of Netflix. What do you think the music industry can do to, I guess, connect the producers of music with the consumers?
What do you mean?
So essentially, what do you think the new platform would look like? You know, whether it's the case, because there's a lot of issues like intellectual property, so people, you know, realizing their album's been leaked or whatever, and some people not being paid their royalties as well. How do you think a model for, I guess, the artist production directly being paid from the consumer? How would that model look? And I don't mean iTunes, I don't mean third party, but...
Oh, so kind of like a pay to listen.
Yes, essentially giving more power to the artist.
I've never really thought about anything concerning that. 'Cause I don't know, I feel like the streaming world is working right now. So I'm not sure about the next evolution. That might be the next evolution that actually could make sense. Actually, I just pay whatever artist I want to, but then the problem you're going to have is how do you work out the economics of what you're going to pay said artist. So the benefit that we have is that, you know, you pay your 10 or 9.99 or whatever to Apple Music or Spotify, and you can stream as many people as you want in that month, but you know that you're only paying 9.99. So I mean, that's the issues that you're now going to have to face. What are the economics of what are you actually going to pay each artist? How much do you think each artist is worth? But I mean, it does sound like a good evolution. Probably not the best for my employer. But yeah, it sounds like an interesting thing. But I don't know, I think, as I said, streaming and downloading at the moment, I think is working. I think, yes, it's kind of taken away a lot of money from the industry because, you know, physical copies were worth a lot more than a stream or a download. But labels have adapted, they know how to make it work. And you just have to realize that you have to make money in other places. So whether it's merch, ancillaries, touring, you know, you just have to adapt.
Thank you. And to be honest, I'm going to keep it brief, but I mean, that's probably quite a good, I guess that's a very similar model to what Nipsey Hussle has done, where he essentially sold an album for $100, but also included tickets to his concerts and his merchandise as well. So I don't know if that's a kind of similar model I was referring to.
So that's just bundling, which most labels do. So they just bundle it so that you can buy an album, or sometimes it's the other way around. So sometimes it's you buy a ticket to a concert, and you get the album. But obviously, you know, there's some controversy in that because people are saying that that's how people are trying to increase their sales, and it's not really the best measure of how much that person actually sold. But I guess you just have to adapt.
We have one question back there, a question here.
Yeah, so I think you mentioned that, well, I think it was Anita actually. Somebody mentioned that most of the music coming out of Africa that's well known is Afrobeats from Ghana and Nigeria. How do you think you could work or put sort of initiatives in place to get music from a wider breadth of the continent out there?
I'm going to sound really controversial here because I'm not West African. So I can give you a kind of different view. So your question is, how do we get other? other like South Africa, Kenya, and this is going to be really controversial. I don't think West Africans want to. Because that music has always existed. Afrobeats is just this new name that we now have for this new type of music, right? But who remembers, actually, I don't know how old you guys are, but I remember when I was 17, 18 and I was going to clubs, and the only song you'd heard was Magic System, Premier Gaou, right? That existed before Afrobeats. Kofi Olomide existed before Afrobeats. A whole bunch of other artists existed before Afrobeats, and I think it's a bit weird, and again, this is going to sound very controversial, but, and I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, but I feel like the only music that was kind of pan-African before Afrobeats was Congolese music. You guys were vibing to Awilo, and no one even knew he was Congolese because he said Oshe in a song, and Nigerians thought they could claim him, and Ghanaians also thought they could claim him. But no, and you know, on the real, that was the only pan-African music people were listening to. You'd go to someone's adoring and they're listening to Awilo, you're going to someone's naming and they're listening to Awilo. So that music's always existed. I think it's just, I'm going to be real, West Africans are still very insular. Nigerians in particular are very insular. Ghanaians in particular are very insular because Ghanaian music doesn't even travel to Nigeria. I lived in Ghana for 6 months and I didn't hear a lot of Nigerian music in Ghana unless it was a Wizkid feature. Unless you had Wizkid on your track or unless you had Pata Rankin on your track, I wasn't really listening to Nigerian music in Ghana. The same thing when I'm in Nigeria, I don't really listen to a lot of Ghanaian music in Ghana. I don't listen to R2Bs in Ghana unless there's a Wizkid feature. I don't hear Sarkodie rapping. I don't hear, you know, who else? Sorry, oh God, why have I forgotten it? But you know, even, okay, so people like, for example, Ebony. Ebony is massive in Ghana, right? Why see you hear Ebony in the club in Nigeria? Right? So it's us as Africans that have to take the initiative to educate yourself on what other countries are putting out. It's for you to know that actually in South Africa, there isn't one genre of music of Afrobeats, there's many. There's club music, there's Kwaito music, there's South African hip hop. It's very different from Kwaito music, and there's so many genres just in that one country. And then, you know, you've got the Lusophone countries that put up their music. So it's the onus is on us to educate ourselves and know that actually there's dope music being put out in other places, and for it not to be that DJ Mafariza jumps on a track with Wizkid for us to know who DJ Mafariza is, or it doesn't take for a song like Kona to blow to know that actually South Africans make dope house music and they make dope, you know, dance tracks. So we need to stop being so insular and travel, you know, go to other African countries, live there, take in the culture so that you can bring it back here, or you can bring it back to Nigeria or Ghana or Kenya or whatever, and just spread it, because I think that's the only way it's going to happen. It's not going to happen with anyone else, because tastemakers here don't know as much as we know.
So my question is in terms of being an entrepreneur in the entertainment space. Usually the narrative is focused around the artist not really having business acumen and being able to understand contracts, etc. But my question is, I guess on the flip side, is as someone who works more on the business side, how is it that you relate with artists or or work creatively in the sense of, I mean, yes, studying in Cambridge and doing events, but not being a creative myself, is how do you manage the business while other people do the actual creative genius?
So is this for me? How do I relate with artists? This is going to sound really bad, right? I'm hot. And most people want to relate. That is genuinely it, and it's going to sound so bad, so like, but yeah. I'm an attractive woman, and in a room full of men, everyone wants to talk to you. And this is not just me, it's just all of you attractive ladies in here. You're in a room and everyone wants to talk to you, right? Everyone wants to get your number. They want something from you. And so you command that conversation to lead where you want it to lead. So if I know that I'm in a room with, and it's very strange because actually, if I look back, and YC doesn't know this, but I met YC way before we even worked together, even way before we knew each other. I met YC in the Oriental Suite of the Wizard Show in 2015. And I sat in that room, and I didn't know anyone. I didn't know a single person in that room. And me and my friend sat there like this. And didn't speak to a single person because, one, I was in the industry and I didn't want to be in the industry. But, you know, I kind of felt the vibe, and I now represent R2Bs, and I sat there and Pedro was looking at me, and I said to my friend, I was like, why is this guy staring at me? And we had a conversation, we struck out a conversation, and I'm just a relatable person, I guess. Yes, I'm about business, and YC knows that most of our conversations are about business, but we can kick it. I can kick it with an artist, I can crack jokes with you. I understand Africa, I understand music, but I know that there's another layer to me, so I can switch it and talk business. And how do I allow a creative to be a creative? I can't make music. I don't know how to rap, so there's how to rap better than me. Although, I tell you, I have a verse that I prepared for one of the songs for YC. So I need you guys to like persuade him to put me on the song. Currently, Nasty C's on the track, but I think my verse is better.
Well, not having this conversation.
You didn't hear it? It's too X-rated. But I let them be creative. I'm not creative. And I work in the creative industry and I love it. I'm not creative. I can't rap, I can't sing. I can barely talk half of the time. But I have business acumen. And as long as they trust you to have that business acumen and I trust you to create, then that's it. You know, I don't really call YC and I have big, in-depth business conversation because that's not really his concern. That's not his business. The same way that he doesn't have conversations with me saying, oh, I've got this track and I'm looking for a line. He doesn't ask me for inspiration. So I think you can be a smart person and still be in an industry, just be a relatable person. If you're female and you're hot, leverage that. Use that to the best of your ability. Command the room. Take control of conversations. And just be you. Be unapologetically dope.
So I have a question to Crystal. So I wanted to ask, how did you know that music...
Said you like me better, right? Yeah.
So how did you know that music law was for you, and what advice would you give to going into a career that's about something that's so untapped? Because a lot of Africans would say, why are you doing business or law or medicine? But music law is something different, so how did you know that was for you?
I didn't. The music law has only been for me for 5 months. Oh no, 5 weeks, as in officially working in the industry. As in I just started at Sony Music Entertainment. I'm a legal and business affairs manager for Columbia Records. So that's kind of my official role in music. But no, I just always liked music. I was a corporate lawyer for 4.5 years. And I did corporate law, and actually strangely, I did a lot of work for Frexim Bank at my last law firm. Frexim Bank was probably my biggest client. I actually interviewed at A&K. So they flew me out to Kenya because I still was going to be a corporate lawyer who wanted to help with Africa's development. So music law wasn't what I wanted to venture into. I wanted to be an IP lawyer when I first started training, because if anyone's kind of familiar with the training system when you're a corporate lawyer, you do various seats. For 2 years, you're a trainee solicitor, and you do various seats. So I did corporate law, I did finance, IP, tax, and pensions and employment. And I really wanted to be an IP lawyer because it was still the soft law that I liked. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but I knew I wanted to work with brands, and I wanted to work with, brands and fashion. I think at the time, I even used to say I wanted to be a fashion lawyer. And I hated IP. Like, I hated going to work every day, I hated the supervisor. I used to just listen to music every day just to avoid listening to her talk. I didn't like to hear her breathe. I used to pray to God that she'd have a sick day so she wouldn't turn up. And I just realized this isn't for me. I don't want to be an IP lawyer. And so I was a finance lawyer. And I was a good finance lawyer. I did a lot of work for like banks and whatever. And then I wanted to do a lot of Africa. So actually, yeah, my answer would be actually I wanted to be a lawyer doing stuff in Africa. I wanted to help in Africa's development. So I moved to Ghana and I worked in Ghana and I did loads of transactions in Ghana. I worked on the financing for the new airport and I did that type of stuff. And that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to help towards Africa's development. When I was thinking about moving to Kenya and working at A&K, that was still my mission, and I actually interviewed for the World Bank, and that's what I wanted to go into. And music was always just something I did on the side because by this point I started representing Easy, which was kind of a fluke anyway, because someone just called me and said Easy needs a lawyer, and I was like, I'm not a music lawyer. Easy said fine, but I just need someone that can help me with certain things. And I just started off very small, doing feature agreements, little agreements here and there. Then it turned into, oh, we need to do this deal with Universal, we need to do this with Columbia, I need to move house, I need to do this. So that's how it became bigger, and that's how I moved into music. So I wouldn't say that I wanted to be a music lawyer. I'd say music law wanted me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to an end. Can we give another round of applause?